What on earth was that? Maria didn't realize that she had shouted until she noticed everyone staring at her. At that moment, she remembered where she was. She was sitting in her favorite reading nook, next to the window, in her favorite part of the library, where she was reading her new favorite book. Maria tends to have a new favorite book every week or so. And then, out of the silence, there was a loud crack outside, followed by a flash of purple light, followed by a thud and a low whir. And if there were any sounds after that, Maria didn't hear them because she was too busy shouting, "What on earth was that?" Maria stared back at all the people staring at her. The person reading in a chair nearby looked annoyed. The librarian looked confused. Maria's father looked concerned. But none of them seemed to have noticed the commotion outside. Did I just imagine that? Did I fall asleep and dream it? Maria thought. Maria stared out the window, trying to find any sign of the loud crack or the purple flash. Just when she was about to give up, just when she was about to think it was a dream, she noticed a small hole in the ground. As Maria looked more closely, she realized it wasn't so much a hole as it was a crater. She knew what craters looked like because she had just been reading a book about the moon, which is covered in craters. She had been reading and wondering what it would be like to stand next to one. Maria told her dad that she was going out to stretch her legs, which was true, but she left off the part about the crack and the flash and the crater. You know how dads are. They worry. And Maria didn't want her dad to worry. She tried not to run as she headed toward the front door of the library. As soon as Maria got outside and was pretty sure no one in the library could see her, she started running. Maria froze when she looked down into the crater. She wasn't sure what to expect, but she certainly did not expect what she saw. Right at her feet, at the bottom of the crater, looking right back into her eyes, was a furry, white rabbit. Is this... Maria had so many questions that she didn't know where to begin. And she wasn't sure why she was trying to talk to a rabbit anyway. Something about the way the rabbit was looking back at her was odd. Every other rabbit she'd ever seen would have run away by now. But this one just looked at her and held up its front paws. A funny thought occurred to Maria. "Can you understand me?" she asked. The rabbit nodded excitedly. Maria was stunned. How was it possible that the rabbit could understand what she was saying? Then she remembered that she hadn't really introduced herself. "Hi, I'm Maria. What's your name?" she said politely. The rabbit took in a deep breath, and when it opened its mouth, the wildest sound came out. "What? Your name is Verbozoop?" The rabbit shook its head and pronounced its name again, but more slowly this time, so Maria could hear every little bit of it. "Oh, I hear it now. It's nice to meet you. Rip-boom-bop. I have so many questions. How did a rabbit like you learn how to speak?" Maria was surprised to discover that she understood this strange language that sounded like an orchestra, though she couldn't begin to explain how. As long as she listened carefully and thought about the sounds, she just knew. Rip-boom-bop explained that they weren't a rabbit at all. They were a creature from another planet who just happened to look exactly like a rabbit. Rip-boom-bop didn't like it when Maria asked if they were an alien. After all, to them, Maria was the weird one. Rip-boom-bop told Maria the whole story of how they'd arrived here outside the library. Rip-boom-bop had been going on vacation. They'd been looking forward to it for weeks. They'd made lists of what they'd do and what they'd bring. They made sure they had all of their favorite snacks. And finally, they set out and hit the sky. After that, everything was great. Everything was going great, right up until they made a wrong turn at Jupiter. And before Rip-Boom-Bop knew it, they landed with a thunk on a small blue planet. "That's Earth!" Maria exclaimed. "That's where we are right now!" Rip-Boom-Bop explained that their ship was just a few feet away and pointed to what looked to Maria like a soccer ball. But if Rip-Boom-Bop could look exactly like a rabbit, she supposed there was no reason that a spaceship couldn't look exactly like a soccer ball. "How can I help you get back on your way?" To translate, Rip-Boom-Bop needed to know more about Earth before they could get off. They needed to know exactly how strong gravity was here. They explained that if their ship didn't push hard enough, gravity would pull them right back down to the ground. And if they pushed too hard and fast, they'd go flying off and get lost all over again. Maria thought this sounded like a hard problem, but she'd solved hard problems before, hadn't she? And come to think of it, the book she had been reading about the moon had something in it about the people getting there for the first time in the Apollo program. They had to have figured out this problem already. "Come with me," Maria said. "I think we can figure this out together, but you have to be quiet." "Shh, quieter than that. Quieter than that. Can you whisper?" "Perfect. Let's go." They softly crept into the library. Maria was pretty sure rabbits weren't allowed inside, and she didn't think she could explain to an adult that Rip-Boom-Bop wasn't a rabbit. So they snuck. Maria remembered right where the book was on the shelf. She grabbed it and started turning pages while Rip Boom Bop sat in her lap and read with her. Together, they learned that for Rip Boom Bop to get back into space, their ship would need to go around 25,000 miles per hour. Rip Boom Bop shouted. "Shh," Maria whispered. Wow. 25,000 sounded like a lot to Maria. Rip Boom Bop assured her that their soccer ball could handle the speed, but that they might need a little extra help, and that they would appreciate it if Maria could come back out to the ship. When they arrived at the ship, which was still at the bottom of the crater, Rip Boom Bop explained. And if you listen closely, you might learn how you can help too. To translate for Rip Boom Bop, the ship needs a little extra energy to get back into space, and it can collect energy from vibrations here on Earth. To get them started, shuffle your feet on the ground, like so. If you see the ship start to come back down, start shuffling faster. You can stop once the ship gets back into space. Maria watched until she was pretty sure she couldn't see the soccer ball anymore. She was sad to see Rip Boom Bop go. She thought they were becoming good friends, and she loved hearing their voice. Maria was glad to know that Rip Boom Bop was able to get back to where they wanted to be, and she hoped they might find their way back to her little corner of the galaxy just to say hello sometime in the future. Maybe they could use their beautiful voice to tell a brand new story.